had just left town. And I was real excited about it. My girlfriend, Christy, who I was totally infatuated with, she was a beautiful girl, brown hair, almond-shaped brown eyes, she was a gymnast. And we're in high school, this is like our first year of high school, neither of us can drive. And my parents leave town, and I'm like, tonight is the night, guys. Tonight is the night where I am going to lose my virginity to Christy. And I was super, super excited. So I ended up buying a bunch of alcohol, buy some wine, I make dinner, pesto dinner, whatever, that I got from my parents' house. And I buy a little weed, and I buy some condoms. And so I set it all up in my bedroom, and I'm like trying to be as romantic as I can. I got flowers and shit, and like light some candles. And I call her up, and I'm like, all right, I'm coming over. And so I hop in my parents' red minivan and drive over to her house. Coincidentally, her parents were out of town at the same time. And, you know, she had kind of the same setup, same idea that I did, and we ended up messing around over there. And I was just totally ecstatic, and I'm like, oh, and she's a little crazy, she was a redneck. And she's like, let's go to Kansas City. And I'm like, that sounds great. Sorry. Let's go to Kansas City. I'm like, that sounds awesome. Let's go to Kansas City. I love you. You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen and everything. We hop in her truck, and we're driving down to Kansas City, and it's like maybe a 3-hour drive from Omaha. And we're driving down there, and her cell phone rings over and over and over again. And it's my uncle's phone number. And I'm like, why the fuck is my uncle calling me? Eventually I call him back, and he's like, get the fuck home now. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, he's like, I don't even care. Get the fuck home right now. Like, I'm halfway to Kansas City. He's like, well, turn the fuck around and get here now. So we do, and we're joking. I'm like, ooh, they found the weed. Big deal. Da, da, da. No, my dumb ass left the candles going. And so when we pull into the driveway, my grandmother from Poland, who's visiting for the weekend, is crying hysterically in the front yard. There's a fire truck in front of our fucking house, and all the neighbors are sitting there like, and I was like, oh my God, I burnt my parents' house down. This is awful. Everything, 1/3 of the house is gone. It's just pillars now, like the 2x4s or whatever the hell you call them. And so I'm like, and my uncle Mark pulls me out and starts screaming at me. And I'm like, oh shit. And eventually we have to start cleaning up the mess. Like, I'm going through my property, I'm like, there's my burnt up CD player, fuck. There's my burnt up everything, duh. And Christy's going through it with me. And she picks up these burnt up roses, and she's like, what'd you have planned for tonight? I'm like, nothing. And I'm trying not to cry in front of her, and eventually the fire investigator, he's like, why don't you guys come over here? And they take us into the kitchen, and there are the burnt up condoms, the burnt up glass of wine, the sack of weed, which is all burnt up, but they fucking managed to find out that it was weed, the burnt up pasta, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the most embarrassing moment in my life. And I'm looking at Christy, and she's like, what the fuck is up with this kid? And the fire investigator has the gall to sit there and look at me in the eyes and says, you two kids had some night planned, didn't you?